Whoa, it's been a while, almost I think 6 weeks since my last podcast episode, and it's totally because of the Iranians. I mean, the majority of the last 6 weeks I've spent either in an army base or in a shelter with my wife and 4 kids. Podcasting was the last thing on my list. I've been struggling to stay sane, but we're back. And today I'm joined by Avishay Yanai, who is the co-founder and CEO of Soda Labs, which is a very cool MPC-based privacy tool for blockchain, but not the privacy that you're thinking. It's not like the Tornado Cashes and the Moneros. It's a compliant privacy tool. But Avishay is going to tell you more about that later on in the podcast. I'm very excited to have Avishay here with me. We actually got the opportunity to hang out last week at Paris Blockchain Week, which was a phenomenal event. It's good to get out a little bit, tap into the ecosystem, see what's going on in the great world of crypto, and things are alive and well. So we're back, and without further ado, Avishay, welcome to the show. Welcome to Beyond the Code, the podcast where industry experts and brilliant legal minds discuss the impact of new emerging technologies. I'm your host, Yitzy, a lawyer and tech enthusiast. Join us as we explore the legal, regulatory, and ethical issues surrounding AI, blockchain, and more. Get ready to go beyond the code and stay ahead of the game. All right, so we're back on Beyond the Code after over a month hiatus, and I'm very excited to have Avishay Yanai with me, who is of my favorite type of podcast guest. He is a co-founder or founder or co-founder?
Co-founder.
Co-founder and CEO of Soda Labs. So my favorite genre is, I say it often, is the founder stories. So I'm very excited to hear from Avishay today, kind of how he stumbled into co-founding and CEOing one of the coolest MPC startups in the crypto space. Although, spoiler, he's an academic. It's not like, just judging by his LinkedIn, you didn't like hop around at a million random jobs before you decided one late night after a lot of drinks that you want to start a crypto startup. You came at it likely from a very calculated perspective, but that's just my assumption based solely on your very short LinkedIn profile. I will let Avishay tell the story for us. So please, Avishay, welcome to the show. Feel free to introduce yourself and ease into your founder story as and when you're ready.
So first of all, thank you so much for having me. I like being in your, like you and your colleagues' environment. You like make the vibe better every time you are coming.
Appreciate that.
And yeah, so I always had this bug of like starting something myself, starting a company, doing a change in the world and trying to change something that I know best how to change and like have the feeling of actually contributing the world. It takes a lot of guts to take the step. It's not easy. I guess like in our environment, we know a lot of people that did this step, and so it's not super special, right? When we are getting around, all the people around us did a step and doesn't feel super special. Like, oh, you're also a co-founder or founder. Then it's like
sure, I never thought about it that way.
but yeah, actually, most of the people are very comfortable in their position as an employee. I did very well as an employee. I mean, it was super comfortable. I think I had the job, like a dream job, when I was in VMware. It was a direct continuation of my PhD research. It was a research position with some touches into like businesses that the company is doing.
Hmm.
Um, um, but it was mostly research, and the research was very close to what I did in university. So it was basically continue my time in university, but rather in a company that has a pretty good name, and of course, salary is better than your time in academia. So it was basically a perfect job, um, except that I
But
didn't feel
before
like.
the job, like what did you do in the army?
Yeah, so in the army, I was in the prime minister office in Israel.
Okay,
I
and
did
then you
a
went to
technical job, and then it was 3 years. Then
hmm.
I worked in some startup in Israel called Tokon. The co-founder of that company is now the founder of AI 21 Labs. Is I
Cool.
think one of the biggest AI companies in Israel. After that, I get back actually to the prime minister office, but not as a soldier, rather than an employee, for other 2 years or so.
Hmm.
Then at that time, both in my army and then the second phase in prime minister office, I always heard people speaking about cryptography and security. Of course, I did a security related job. But I also heard a lot of people speaking about cryptography, and I didn't understand anything they say. I was always curious about what they are saying, right? Encryption and signatures and stuff like that. I didn't understand anything except that it's like a magic box that it takes a lot of time to understand, and a lot of um, you know um, a
Did
degree
you have
in
a
mathematics.
sciences background before that? Like, did you? I don't know.
I
Did you
did. I
major
did.
in sciences in
Yeah,
high
I studied
school?
computer science before
Okay,
my army service, actually, but
really?
I didn't take a course in cryptography.
Okay.
So it's a branch of computer
Yeah, like
science
how
or
is
mathematics that is.
cryptography looked at from like the general mathematicians?
So unless I mean, there are several concepts in the academic sense of cryptography that unless you really catch them up, you don't understand what people want from you, like what
Okay,
actually encryption means, right? So I mean, for the layman, encryption means just hiding something from people, right? Basically, but there is a huge set of definitions around that, and it's like this is like the easiest one that now I can tell other people what is encryption, but when you get into it, you understand that first that it's far from being easy, um, and even what we have today that is working already for decades is far from being perfect. um, and actually, like all the things that we have in the world, the thing that put most trust in cryptographic tools is time. Like the
interesting.
ones that, yeah, the ones like that you worked with most of the time and the world worked with most of the time are getting more and more trust, and eventually are getting into standardization process. If you think about it, that it's natural, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
makes sense.
it takes
Like I
time to build trust, even in like as a society and in everything else.
okay, so you decided to do your master's in cryptography, and within the realm of cryptography, specifically, you go into MPC, right?
Right. Yeah. And this is
And
like a branch on its own inside cryptography that is even harder to grasp.
and like so like how much of a niche is that within the cryptography world? I don't know very many cryptographers, but any of the ones that I do know, who we've had like three or four of them on this podcast, they're all in that subdivision of MPC. So I'm not even familiar that there are any other any other subsectors within cryptography. So like how did you fall into MPC, and like I
Yeah.
guess how did that lead you to where you are today?
So I did my master in Bar Ilan University. And then one of the courses that I took was cryptography, and it was led by Professor Yehuda Lindel.
Okay. He
Is
was a guest here on the
pretty.
podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry to miss that. So he is a super, like a great cryptographer with a world name, and I really liked the course back then. It like opened my mind to different things that I haven't seen before or thought before. It was very intellectually challenging, which I really liked. And the problem that people have solved seemed very, very difficult problems. And not only that, I think what I liked in that field is that, in contrast, for example, to machine learning or AI, that everyone can actually tweak a system or an AI model or a machine learning algorithm. They can tweak it, and based on some random idea that they had, in order to make it more efficient or make it more accurate, and then just try it out on the data they have and see if it actually works. If it works, then it's a success. Let's put it in our product and maybe even write papers about it and so on. In cryptography, it never like that. Like, you might have random ideas that may make things more efficient. There is no so much accuracy in cryptography. There is, but it's quite niche. But you can try to think of new ways to do cryptography more efficiently. But you never know if it actually
It's going to
applicable to
work.
real systems unless you actually prove it that it is secure. And
Okay.
proving security of a cryptographic system is a very difficult process. So you never know if it's like qualified to be a real system until you have proof for it, and this makes it very, very difficult. Like you have to understand very well the field of cryptography, the definitions, and everything in order to propose something to the community. You cannot
Eh,
just like think of an idea and like make it happen.
So that must be very frustrating as a researcher.
It is frustrating, and I think well, I don't know how is it in like different fields in machine learning maybe, but it's interesting to check if like cryptographers or researchers in cryptography are more frustrated than those in machine
I
learning.
mean, I guess you could probably see based on like where more products come out of, like which faculties of uh, of computer science produce the most products in the end of the day. No.
Um, it's just that the progress in cryptography is slow. Um, as a default, I think this is it's good that it's slow because you need to adopt like security products slower than rather than faster. Anyway, yeah, I guess that being a PhD student is frustrating for anyone. It's just that maybe for cryptographers is a bit more difficult.
Okay, so you did your master's, you did your PhD, both on MPC, and then you continued at VMware. You said it was like a direct continuation of what you had been working on in your PhD, and that was like your dream job, and you were basically like chilling, studying the stuff that you like doing, probably making good money as well. Probably had a pretty chill, not too stressful life, and then you're like, screw it, I'm going to go out and take a chance and do my own thing.
Yeah. So you described it quite well. Um, After about 5 years, more or less, in VMware,
Hmm.
I've seen what happens in the market of the like blockchain market. I
Okay.
mean, I was always following. I think my first article about Bitcoin was on 2016. It was about mining Bitcoin, and it was actually published on a website called mining.com. And mining.com is not a cryptocurrency website. It's like
Okay.
actually a website
Like
about mining, like
okay.
gold and stuff like that. So it was pretty strange that like
How did it
finding
end
my
up there?
articles. So I worked with another guys that ran another website called VPN Mentor, and they were very
Okay.
interested. Um,
Cool.
uh, yeah, they were very
What,
interested in Bitcoin cryptocurrencies, and they wanted me to to do some research on that and publish some papers,
and you were
articles.
interested in Bitcoin, like from a cryptography perspective or from a
I did.
markets perspective? Like, did you
No,
buy
no,
any
no.
Bitcoin?
I didn't buy Bitcoin back then. It took me
Okay.
several years, unfortunately.
Okay. But
But
you read the
it
white
did.
paper.
Yeah, of course. I read the white paper. The white paper is actually a paper that you don't have to be super technical in order to
I
understand
mean,
it.
I understood it, so I mean,
Yeah.
that says enough right there. But what
And
was that something that was taught in school? Like, where did you
no,
come across?
no,
No.
no, no, no. I've seen the buzz around Bitcoin back
Hmm.
then. I understood that it's based on cryptography. I did PhD in cryptography, and I like committed to myself that I will not finish my PhD before I understand Bitcoin. And afterwards, there was like Ethereum. So I studied it only like on my own. I was very enthusiastic about it. After some time, I actually became very knowledgeable in this space, in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other protocols. I decided to actually give a course about blockchain in Bar Ilan. I think it took some permissions from professors for a PhD student to actually conduct a course in Bar Ilan, and the professors that I worked with was Yehuda and Benny Pincus. Probably you know him
Yeah.
as well. So they had to actually write a recommendation letter to the management
Wow.
to allow me to give a course.
And was it
But
popular?
yeah, yeah, blockchain was very appealing to students, and specifically Bitcoin. I guess Bitcoin was very attractive for students to understand, probably for the financial aspect of it rather than the cryptography, because like this is what is it is famous for.
I'm sure
Uh,
all of your students like assume that you were very, very wealthy. Like my son is doing a major in high school in business management, and he's like, "Why? If this teacher knows so much about business management, why is he here teaching us?" Like, so
yeah, yeah,
I'm sure all of your students assume that you had bought Bitcoin at $5 or 10 cents.
yeah. No, I always told them that that I didn't, but yeah. You know this saying that like all those people that sell courses, like if they sell courses about trading usually, then
Then they're
probably
definitely not good traders.
yeah. So yeah,
Okay,
that's the story.
so you got into Bitcoin, you got into Ethereum, and but VMware is a cloud computing company. Like, what were they doing in the crypto space?
So originally VMware is actually not cloud computing, but it was virtualization. This is why it's
Okay,
VM. VM is for virtual machine. VMware.
okay,
So this I actually used them as a student. I think 15 or more years ago, because originally it allowed you to run a Linux operating system on Windows. So you
okay,
could have applications that run whatever applications you have. You can run them on your computer. That was their product. It did very well. They became very famous for this product. Today there are many alternatives, but this is what made them famous. After that, they got into the cloud industry and gave some products there.
cool.
But they had when I joined, they had many business units, and one of them was the blockchain business unit. It was a large one. They had a blockchain on their own. It was a permission blockchain called Concord,
Okay,
and they did pretty well. They signed several pilots with major institutions like the Australian Stock Exchange and some other exchanges. At some point, it began to collapse. I'm not sure exactly what were the reasons, whether they were political or something else. But after some time, it was not doing very well, and people were starting to withdraw from that initiative. A little bit after I left, VMware was acquired by another company called Broadcom, which is a huge um, American company, and the blockchain business unit was acquired by Intel, actually.
Okay.
So it was separated from the rest of the company. And I'm not sure if this is continuing in Intel. So I guess.
So you left at the right time.
Yeah, I left at the right time, and yeah.
Okay,
I
so
think
but what spurred you to leave?
So yes, as I said, there was always a bug in me that told me I want to do something. I want to leave some mark in the world, and I studied for a lot of time cryptography and secure multi-party computation. I always looked into things to do with what I studied most, right? Because they tell you like you have to do, or you don't have to, but it's better if you do something that you know better than the rest of the world, right? It gives you the edge. And I looked for things to do with that. And also, when I wrote papers for academia and for academic conferences, I always looked what is the application, what applications people are looking into when they work on specific problems. When I really started to think about what company or what the company I will start will do, I started to look more into those applications that people write on academic papers. And when I dug into it, I noticed that most of the applications there in the written in the academic papers as the application for the research are mostly, if not like all of them, were for the purpose of writing an academic paper rather than there is a real application and real business around it. I guess this is something that is prevalent in like ubiquitous
in the academic world.
research. Yeah. And it helps. I mean, it helps researchers because it gives them a reason to
exist,
to pursue research. I think this is so actually research should not necessarily be directed to some application that we know of right now. So many people are
you're touching on my biggest criticism to the academic world. Like I think that for the most part, the academic world exists to exercise academic theories as opposed to anything of any real practicality. You know, sometimes some of these theories prove a good basis, but you know, a law degree is a very literal degree,
right?
Philosophical. I spent 4 years, you know, learning the philosophy of law, and then I went to, you know, start my internship, and I didn't have one practical tool in my toolbox that I could actually go and apply afterwards. Okay, fine. So obviously, I was, you know, able at breaking down different texts and looking at them from maybe a bit more of a critical perspective, but the entire academic world is just lives in this like little bubble, and they create papers and research and theorize on things that have no actual real practicality.
Yeah, so it became like an industrial academia, right? So it's an industry that with the purpose to produce papers, and the problem is not that itself. The problem is that everything in the end becomes academics, and people put KPIs on everything. So if the KPIs for researchers is to put so many papers, like the most papers you publish is the you're doing the best, then people will pursue this KPI, right?
Yeah.
So this is it. But I think anyway, I don't think it's bad. It gives you the foundations to everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this is also for when you study law, right? Like I'm reading now the Republic by Plato. I'm not sure if you went through it in
We
your
studied
degree.
it in law school, literally.
Yeah. So I think I mean it has still influence even today, right? I mean a lot of things that we have in law, they kind of derivatives of that book or ideas that came from that book, and I think it's the same in all other um, domains, and the same happens in computer science and cryptography. There are foundations that you have to learn if you want to actually be impactful later and produce
Mm-hmm.
things that will be used later in the world. So I don't think it's a waste of time. There are some things that are a waste of time, but overall,
Okay, but in any event, like you started saying that as like presumably because you were frustrated with that outcome and you wanted to do something more practical. No.
yeah, that was because I didn't manage to push MPC very well inside VMware. I tried
Okay.
to approach different business units. Not necessarily. I mean, I was not super affiliated with the blockchain business unit. I tried to help them when I could, but I tried to actually do something with MPC for other business units as well. And I didn't manage to push that. Managers were more focused on things they have to do rather than being creative and try to like expand their scope or try to explore different approaches to problems. This is so I got some pushback about my research domain, and it gives me the feeling that maybe it's not as like a strong proposal, like value proposition as I thought of
Okay.
before. So I try to look for places, not necessarily in VMware, but in the industry where I can actually apply the theory and practice that I have gained so far in secure multi-party computation and cryptography. So the thing that was most like closest to this was MPC wallets that you already know of. So there
Mm-hmm.
are many companies in Israel that offer MPC wallets. Like Fireblocks was probably the first one. There was Unbound that was founded by Yehuda that you met, and some others like Utila
Utila,
and others. They're all
Zengo.
Zango, yeah. Um, this was an obvious choice. I didn't want to go this choice. The reason was that I already knew too many people and companies that are competing for this slot, and I thought that it was too crowded. Um, so I decided not to go there. It took me some time because we did some research about like what's new in this field. We tried to actually push it, like extend this field and find new ways, more efficient ways to do
We
things.
as you and Metal,
Yeah, me and Mita.
like you
And
guys
actually,
together said like we're gonna do a company. We have to figure out what we're gonna do within the NPC space. Like both of you
exactly.
guys are academics. Both of you were in Bar Ilan, right? She was also in Bar
Yeah.
Ilan.
Yeah. So
And you had
we,
this like background at NBC, and you're like, let's sit together and like bang our heads against the wall until we come up with an idea of a company that we want to start in this space. We're not going to go down the wallet route because it's too saturated. What can we do?
yes. So I knew Metal for like more than 5 years, but
Mm-hmm.
actually more, 8, 9 years back then. We worked together while I was in Bar Ilan. She was part of the research group, building mostly software rather than
Mm-hmm.
research, but she actually also helped in theory many times. And I knew she was one of the greatest coders in cryptography, probably in the world. There are not too many people that deal with this field hands-on for so long, and she has it. She did PhD not in cryptography, actually. She did it in algorithms and optimization. So I think this gave her some edge in building better cryptographic solutions. Anyway, so we started to look what we can do. We actually started to think about MPC wallets, and we looked what companies there exist, who use them, what source codes there are in the industry. But in the end, we decided to go for something else. And this something else is the problem that was not solved at all when we started. This is the problem of privacy on blockchains. We decided to not pursue the domain of MPC wallets.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it's too crowded, and we saw that in the blockchain industry or markets, there is a big problem that everything you do on chain, as inside everything you put in a transaction, is public and it's visible to everyone in the world. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to have special skills. If you pay me once, I know your address. I look your address in Etherscan and some like all of the other scans for all blockchains, and I see what you did from now and back to the like whole history of blockchains.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought this is a big problem. Maybe not for individuals that like I don't know use sporadically payments for I don't know what for, but we knew it will become a problem and a blocker for companies that will want to adopt blockchains. Companies, enterprises, institutions, and we thought, what are the solutions that there are? And back then there was no solution. I think Tornado Cash became like launched a little like a year after we started. And anyway, it gave a solution for individuals and mostly for people with kind of illicit activities, rather than being a legitimate service. We pursued more a privacy solution, and we call it compliant privacy. So it's like the situation in the blockchain until then was that either everything is public, I can tell everything you do on public blockchains, or it's like it's a super
Super
private, like
shady, super private, and
yeah,
hence super shady, right? So it's either like
yeah,
Monero and Tornado Cash, or everything's out in the open.
exactly. And like two extremes. One of them is unacceptable for like most of the people and companies, and the other is not acceptable by regulators and like yeah. And if you think about it, most of the services that we use today, they are in the middle, right? They give you privacy from the rest of the world, but they
But you
commit
could,
to you
yeah.
that if something bad happens, that they will need to open it to regulators or to the court, they will do it, and you know that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's acceptable by customers. So our goal was to provide something in this line, and this is where we started. We checked what existed back then in the industry. There was probably one company, French company called Zama,
Mm-hmm.
and they also used a kind of MPC cryptography that is called fully homomorphic encryption. I don't know if you heard the name, or
Never.
FHE.
Okay.
But the problem is that it's a new type of encryption. This is first, that if you speak with security officers in big companies, they are mostly unwilling to adopt new type of cryptography for the same reason we talked in the beginning. Like cryptography, as many things, they take a lot of time until you get trust in them, and it's very very slow. So it takes a lot of time from the moment you send a transaction until the moment you get a result. And also the throughput is very slow, but we'll not get too technical, I think. Unless you want, it's up to you.
Let's
So,
keep it in layman terms for now.
and we knew we can do much, much better because we knew what other types of cryptography there are. And we actually worked in the past during our time in Bar Ilan, we worked on other types of cryptography that can actually do the same job with standardized encryptions, much faster and with better performance. So this was our angle to start a company around MPC.
Okay, so how long were you guys like in the ideation phase?
I think it was around half a year where
Wow.
we explored not only that, we explored other ideas such as MPC wallets, as I mentioned. We explored other ideas for rollups.
And what did that look like? Like that 6 months of ideation. Like, were you guys like meeting at the university and like opening up notebooks? Like, you mentioned that you were doing some market research. Like, I'm very curious about how that whole process went from like the point where you said like, okay, like I'm dedicating my time, like me and Metal together to figure out something that we're gonna develop together to like actually saying, okay, this is our product and this is what we're doing.
So it it was not super systematic. It was not like a full-time job that we uh, like dedicated all our time to this, but we did spend a lot of time on looking into our next step. Like we met several times a week to discuss this protocol or this protocol. What's the problem here? And most of the time, it was getting into the technical level, like what are the limitations of this protocol? For example, and a lot of MPC MPC that is used for MPC wallets for signatures. Their performance is not very good, and the research is like progressing all the time, even today, to make to help you do MPC wallets faster. It's not very easy, and we were at the edge of this research as well. I helped other companies to actually do research and development in this field. So I knew what is the state of the art,
Mm-hmm.
and always try to think of new ideas how to bring new features into the solution or make it faster. So this was one thrust, I would say. The other was a lot around rollups that were very like the narrative was all around rollups back then. There was like the distinction between
Yeah, I
ZK
remember.
rollups and optimistic, right? Today, I mean, we already forgot about this. I mean, nobody care about ZK rollup or optimistic, or even let's take it even further. Nobody even talks about decentralization. I mean,
It's
you
true.
hear here and there, but it's not like a hot topic anymore. People are more, they care more about security. Even like especially this week that we've seen two breaches. So it was MPC wallets, it was rollups, and then it was privacy. I mean, I think this was also the timeline of
Yeah.
our exploration. Some of
So
it
so
was market research to see which companies are potential customers, but some of it was about the technical level, what we can do, what we know to do, and what we can do, and how performant it will be. Like, will it be appealing for customers to actually adopt it, or it's too expensive? We cannot even
that's
offer.
what I want to ask you. Like, so number one, like, how does it actually work in practicality? Number two, who are your customers and what is your revenue model?
So we started with the one design partner. It's called the
Mm-hmm.
Coty Network. Um, Before we partnered, Kotlin was focused on providing a layer one for payment. They were focused on payments, and they wanted to jump into new aspect of what they did until then. I mean, for payment or for something that will be hot in the industry, and what we did was very interesting for them because they already knew that for payment you have to have some privacy layer, and we offer them what we're building. They kind of took a risk on working with us because like two academics going out from university, they have a great idea. They have like envelope calculation of how things will work and how much time it will take to build it. So it was a risky decision for them because they did a lot of marketing and PRs around that even before things were ready. But we liked it pretty much. We liked what we started to build, and we were very excited to have a design partner that actually is going to use this, not like build to the void.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how it started. We found a design partner that actually wanted something like that. We didn't know back then what it will be, but there was willing to pay for privacy. This was our signal. We didn't get to other customers back then that were willing to actually do a major change to the protocol in order to add privacy. And still, even today, I find it pretty hard for customers to change the flows that they have in order to add privacy, and they will do it only when they really need. And in this period, we do find more and more customers that actually got to the point where they really need to add privacy for the customers. So it took us like 2 years from the beginning to reach to a point where the market really demands. We feel the market demands privacy.
Okay, so how does it actually work?
So the business model changed from when we started. In the beginning, we wanted to sell layer twos that are already integrated with the privacy capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And along the time, we realized that selling a layer two is a hard sell. There are already big companies in the market like Arbitrum, Optimism, Starkware, and probably others. It's hard to get into this market, and anyway, it's not super profitable. This is the conclusion that we got. And then it was a little bit more than half years ago, we decided we don't want to sell layer two. We want to, okay, first, why? What we felt is that when you sell a layer two, and when you as a business run a layer two, you need to build an ecosystem around it, just like you build an ecosystem
100%. Yeah.
around the layer one. I mean, it's the technical level
Yeah,
of
and
it
then you just
doesn't
get
change.
distracted and you end up becoming a community manager instead of focusing on the tech that you want to build. And you have to always constantly balance the price of your token against
Yeah,
what, and then you just totally lose track. I mean, I've seen it 100 times. I don't know if this is why you eventually didn't end up doing it, but like you end up being so tied to the price of your token and, the sentiment of your community that you can't actually focus on like what's really important.
exactly. But even for if you wanted to sell it to other businesses that they will take care of the token, even for businesses that already have token,
Yeah.
we didn't want to sell them that because it means that they will need their customers to migrate to a layer two rather than building on Ethereum or wherever they already sit. So if you are building on Ethereum, let's say you have a business, you have a contract on Ethereum, you will not want to move to a layer 2, even if it provides you privacy capabilities, because then you will need to move all your operation into layer 2 rather than building on Ethereum itself.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that is like migration to another chain is a different level of integration that we didn't want our customers to go through. What we decided to do is to build something that is called plug and play privacy as a service. It means that customers don't need to do anything for integration, almost anything. If you're your business is on Ethereum, you keep running on Ethereum. If it's on Solana, you keep running on Solana. We will do the integration wherever you are. So we will do our integration on Solana in order to bring privacy directly to your contract or on other chain. It doesn't matter where
On like
you are.
a SaaS basis, like you
Yeah,
buy X amount
exactly.
of transactions on Y chains, and then on an as demand basis, like you just come and you privatize the transaction.
Yes. So there are two parts of the business model. There is an SLA and
Mm-hmm.
for supporting you and like helping you if there is any problem, giving you support. And then there is a transaction based cost. So this is basically the business model.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I think that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
no?
And we don't charge by a token. We don't have a token. I mean, we also delayed that part. We thought that,
Yeah.
as you mentioned before, like having a token is a different product your company has to maintain in addition to the actual product. So we didn't want to go there, and this is exactly what we are doing now.
Okay. And explain to me the soda aspect. Like, where does that come from?
Sod in Hebrew is secret, and we keep
Okay.
secret. Yeah, it's very simple, nothing deep in there, and we like to drink soda, so it
Okay. Very
was
cool.
like,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
very quick decision. We didn't take a lot of time to decide about the name.
Okay. Do you find that like because most of the privacy related software is like saturated with bad actors, that you're constantly having to like explain yourself to people in the industry like we're doing privacy but not that kind?
Yes, always. So we just came back from Paris. I was there in a panel. The panel wasn't about privacy or security, but I was the privacy and security angle of that panel. And there was the CEO of 1inch, um,
Yeah,
and
Andre, whatever it is.
Sergey,
Sergey, yeah.
Sergey
Sorry,
Kuntz.
that's me
So
being
yeah. So when I spoke about privacy, he like commented. I don't know if like humoristically or like seriously, he commented that I don't want to go to jail or something like that. And then I mean, my whole pitch was directed into institutionals, and for them, I think it. I mean, when institutions and enterprises they hear about privacy, they actually their context is about regulation, right? Because we have
Mhm.
GDPR and we have other regulations about privacy and privacy policies. They don't think about going to jail because you are keeping private of your customers.
It's true.
But only if you are in the crypto space, you think of like you are having this connotation of privacy and jail. So this
Yeah,
is crazy.
it's true. I guess that makes it easier for you that you're not
um,
selling to crypto pros.
yes, yeah, actually yes.
Okay. So, and so how's it been? Like you're ultimately you're an academic. You spent most of your life behind the microscope. Like, what's it like being a CEO? Like driving business, selling, going to conferences, schmoozing with people, hiring people, managing people. Like that's completely different than anything you've ever done.
Yes, it's very different and it's tough. I get experience to do everything basically from technical levels. I think in the first year or even more, I was very, very focused on the technical product, like actually designing the cryptography behind our product and the architecture. After that time, I gradually moved out of the technical. I'm still involved, of course, but not at the same level that I was before.
Hmm.
And I started to do a lot of things around marketing, hiring, um, going to more conferences, but not as a researcher, rather than being like a salesperson. I tried to learn from people I work with. I hired a few people that weren't like, our alignment wasn't like super good, but I always learn from experiences. So this keeps me improving the next time. Um, yeah, I think it's very tough. Most people don't understand it. Only probably founders
Yeah.
and like so. Um, I feel like in the past 2 years, I did like 5 years. This is the actual feeling.
But you're having fun, no? I only ever see you at conferences, and you seem to be having a good time. So,
Well, yeah, we always drink, right? So most of the time it's tough fun, right? It's like when you go to the gym, it's fun, right? But you're kind of suffering, right? So
yeah. All right, that's good. So, my wish to you is that you continue suffering, but in a good way.
thank
There's a there's this concept called surviving your next promotion, right? Like in any organization, like you start somewhere, whatever, I don't know, on the you know, on the in the most menial job, and then you do, a really good job delivering items to people's houses, and then you do so well that you get a managerial position. But in a managerial position, you're not running around and meeting customers, which is what you're so good at. You're managing people, but this is an
right.
entirely new skill, and then you have to develop the new skill, and then after you've developed that, you get a promotion. You're doing something else entirely. So there's this concept of surviving your next promotion, where you're always constantly evolving into a new job, but you know um, you have to adapt. And so
Yeah,
it's natural. It's a good thing in the end. You get to that point where you're at the top of the pyramid, and you're looking down, and you have that deep knowledge, or at least at some level of knowledge of everybody underneath you, what they're should what they're doing and what they should be doing. So it's
right.
valuable.
I totally agree. I actually heard about a different, the opposite way of looking at it. I
Okay.
heard there is a name actually to this paradox that most of the people, their position is the position that they are least good
Least
at.
qualified for.
Yes, because you're getting promoted until you are not getting promoted, right? So it means that you're not very good at that job.
Also true. So what do you say of somebody who's a founder and they made themselves the CEO, and then they just grew everybody else underneath them? So
Yeah, we need to promote the whole company, right? We need to take it to the next level.
well, actually, in startups, the CEO basically does everything. So you're the CEO and the CFO, and you're the legal, and you're the janitor, and you're the mailman, and you're the secretary, and so it does
Yeah,
make the
yeah,
most sense
definitely.
that you slowly delegate the people you hire. So
Yeah, there were like many days where I told like we have calls like me and Meital many times very late at night. Like sometimes it takes like to the middle of night, and many times I find myself telling her like at around 9 p.m. or 10 or whatever, I didn't started to work today. Like I dealt with so many things. I didn't even start to work. I don't feel like I did anything. And then I
I
only
could
start to
totally
work at
relate.
10. Yeah.
I'm gonna go work now after this. So
Yeah.
I could totally relate. Avishai, thank you so much. This is so nice having you. For our audience for listening who are keen to learn more about Soda Labs, what's the best place for them to get more information?
So you can go to our website, sodalabs.xyz,
Mhm.
and you can reach me at Avishay@sodalabs. Yeah,
Okay,
I think this
great.
would
So
be the best way.
I'll share your email in the show notes if you're keen. And are you guys looking primarily to bring on more investments now, or mainly focused on selling the product? Like, what's your key
Yes,
focus right now?
we're going through an investment round at this point, and we also speak with different customers. We have two main use cases that we are working on. One of them is super interesting. I don't think there is any such product right now in the market, and we expect a lot of demand for it. So this is very exciting.
That's great. So if you're listening and you're interested, either investing or acquiring the product, then please feel free to reach out to Avishai, or you can reach out to me, and I'm happy to connect you guys. Thank you, Avishai, for joining me. Wishing
Thank you,
you
Yitzy.
much luck in your continued development of the company and the product.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. See you.
Thank you for listening to Beyond the Code. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, share with your friends, and to tune in again next week for more fun and insightful conversation.